Welcome everyone to our weekly class. And so we're going to perhaps talk with Hattie about what's going on with her. And then, in fact, let's just see if we can get her unmuted for a moment so I can enter her information. Oh, you've got two places you've logged in, Hattie. Okay, well, we'll do our best. We just try. So it might not be this one, it might be the other one. Let's see. Hattie, are you there? It sounds like you are. Are you there? Hi, Hattie, are you there? You could tell that the microphone is on, but it's just not, there's nothing coming out there. Okay, so maybe she's logged in on a couple of different channels here. So let's see if we can get this muted, and then let's try unmuting this one. Hattie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, the connection's not great though, but let's just do as much as we can.
Okay.
So let me
I don't
just
understand why I had two logins. I only logged in once.
Yeah, I don't know why either. So you guys aren't going to see the screen for a second, but just let's talk to Hattie for a moment. So how are you, my dear?
I'm good, other than the fact that I have, how when you start trying to be your own doctor, you go like, oh, it must be that, start looking at, I have a lower back pain. I'm used to being very pain free, and I have a lower back pain that, like I get up from bed and it hurts, and there's not too much I can do without bumping into it right now.
What do you mean bumping into it?
Well, it just hurts. I mean, it just is my lower back goes,
Hmm.
yeah.
And you've never experienced sort of any type of similar pain in your lower back?
No, not really.
Okay, and the lower back, where would you say, give me a little bit more information about where the location is when you say lower back.
It is in like sort of the hollow there's the fleshy part of the buttock, and then right above it, it hollows out, and it's more like you can feel bone right in
Mm-hmm.
there, and it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I,
That
I
may, mm-hmm.
when I wrote you this morning, I had been up in the middle of the night reading that it was kidney, but and I'm not so familiar. It's lower than where the kidney is.
And that was exactly what my next comment was going to be, that was what I was thinking. So, yeah, it sounds more like musculoskeletal.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And do you do any type of a yoga or a stretching routine on a
Do
either, I could call
all,
it a regular or semi-regular basis?
yes, I do. I do yoga. I take a class a week, and I do a little bit of yoga every day.
Okay, okay. Fantastic. Let's get your voice recording. So I'll cue you and you're going to have you say your name and then just keep repeating A-E-I-O-U. I'll count you down here. I'll start recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
AEIOU, Hattie Parker. AEIOU, Hattie Parker. Relief from lower back pain. AEIOU, Hattie Parker.
Fantastic. Okay, and we have your picture on here, so we'll do a quick analysis of your picture. And I guess, Hattie, how has your own work with the Genius with yourself or your clients been going?
Um, I've I've been very pleased. This particular thing, I worked on myself to see if I could get more immediate results yesterday. In general, I look at it as like it's like a shower. It's like an energy shower I take daily, and I appreciate doing it. I don't know that I'm always aware of what the difference is. I look at auras a lot because I actually have different aura equipment, and I've really enjoyed sort of trying to understand this new approach. And so I do a lot of looking at auras and find that fun and interesting. I'll be
Oh,
interested to
sure.
see what you get.
Yeah, well, here it is. Why, boy, that's really interesting, isn't it?
Right. A lot of crisscrossing energy.
Yeah, what do you suppose that's about?
Um, well, I keep getting stuff that, like that, the one, you see how the lower orange doesn't go all the way through?
Mm-hmm.
Like it is not, it's not hitting me on my left side, it's only on my right side.
Mm-hmm.
So that sort of makes sense, but it might be useful. Like I get
Is that
a,
because your pain is on your right side?
the pain is on the right side. I don't have any pain on the left side.
Wow, that is interesting. But yeah, the crisscrosses are kind of fascinating, aren't they?
And so it looks like at a higher level, it's the energy is wanting to move through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Pretty
Okay.
creative, all that orange.
Yeah.
Orange.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Excellent. And thank you very much for the people that you've referred to come and try the genius. I really appreciate it, Hattie.
Well, I want them to benefit.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to mute you and we'll come back and talk in a little bit, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Jillian's on today, and Jillian will definitely work on you as well. We're going to do as much as we can today. And we'll probably run a little bit past the top of the hour if you guys are able to hang in there. Okay, so when we have a new case and we don't know what's going on, the very best thing to do is to do some general, sort of I call it like, basically tunneling out and getting a global vision. And a good thing to do is start with the physical body. You're not a diagnostician, like you're not a doctor, but you can always explain to them energetically what's going on, even in terms of something that's physical. So I like to just see what are the things that are coming up, and this should be like in relation to what her issue is, the thing that she wants to work on. If she wants to work on pain, we don't necessarily have to look at something totally different unless we think they're related. So we can work on the client's stated issue. So let's look at today's stress because it's a good global overall look at what's happening. It sounds like it's musculoskeletal. She says she does yoga and stretching, which is very, very good, but maybe when she was doing one of those postures unknowingly, she did sort of move, something a little bit to the left or to the right and didn't notice it until later. Who knows? But I think she was absolutely right when she did her description of being just above the gluteal muscles. That really is not kidney. Kidney is, contained within the confines of the rib cage. So if you go to your lowest ribs in the back, we might even be able to see it on the image here. If you look around where it says infection, just right in here, this is where your kidneys are going to be. So that the small of the back and sort of around this gluteal area would be too low. And so she was right spot on when she noticed that, which is great. So we do have the immune system fungus, you guys, very, very common. The gut microbiome is going to be more naturally bacteria. So if you see a preponderance of fungus, then you can think about getting on top of managing that gut bacteria, which means lots of fermented foods, things like your really good krauts. They have so many good sauerkrauts, fermented vegetables now. We're not talking the type that you get in the regular supermarket. You go to Whole Foods or your health food store. These are made without any type of vinegar. They're made with salt. They're full of wonderful herbs like turmeric and dill and all these types of things. You want to make sure, especially in the winter months, you're getting lots of this into your gut, like getting it in your salad, getting it mixed in with your steamed vegetables in your meal in some way. You want to keep working on your immune system, not just for the prevention of colds and flu, but because as we have less exposure to vitamin D, we're outside less during the wintertime. We're just getting a lot less sun density, like we're just getting a lot less sun, where we're able to really experience the sun, and the days are shorter. So all of those things mean that naturally your daily vitamin D is falling. So you want to do everything you can to boost your immune system, because not just for the acute colds and flu, because the viruses can creep up. And those of you who have the dermatomal program, it is focused on those herpetic viruses like Epstein-Barr, like cytomegalovirus. It's on the website under dermatomes or dermatomal viral healing program, because when your immune system goes lower in the fall and the winter is a time when those herpetics can creep up. They can become more active, basically. So if you notice that you're not feeling well in the fall, but it's not really attributable to a particular illness, it could be those viruses starting to creep. So we want to get on top of all of the things that we know that help with viruses, with the immune system: vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin A. If you go to the colds and flu pack, that's on the website, the cold and flu pack download with all the panels in there, a lot of those solutions are in there. So elderberry, bilberry, you want to get all of those into your system, circulating, saturated in the system for the winter months. And then eating all of the good, squashes and good broths and vegetables, eating lighter on the meat and dairy so you don't, or no meat and dairy would be awesome, so you're not stressing out the system. Okay, so we don't see anything obvious related to pain in here. Let's go to body systems. So that's another global one that we can look at. And right here, we do see the skeletal system. Very interesting. We have seen a lot of hormonal stuff sort of creeping up here. We saw it in the previous one. We see it here in endocrine. Reproductive can be related to hormone, postmenopausally. And digestive keeps creeping up. We see it here, and we also saw it over here. We see digestion. So if something like that comes up, that is good just to look at it, just to sort of know, could the digestion be related? It's possible that digestion is related. Could be a large intestine issue that came up, right? Could be a gallbladder issue, although it's not the exact right location. In medicine, we're always breaking up pain into different quadrants and locations. This is more of a back pain, but we're always saying, where it's located could be related to the diagnostic. So we break the abdomen up into these lower and upper quadrants, because when a pain is located in a particular quadrant, it gives us information about that particular diagnosis that it might be. So if it's in the upper right quadrant, it's more likely a gallbladder issue. If it's in the lower right quadrant, the lower part of the abdomen, it's more likely related to like appendicitis. So manganese, it's interesting. There is a manganese connection that I'm always sort of forgetting. Manganese is one of the things that we don't really focus on that much in natural medicine. Molybdenum is usually related to a heavy metal infestation, a heavy metal exposure, and a candida infection. So it's kind of interrelated to those two things, molybdenum. And we did see fungus come up. So fluorine could be fluoridated water. It still amazes me that it's actually really hard in the United States to not live in a municipality that has some type of fluoridation. Like in Portland, we are extremely rare location where water is actually fluoride free, and we had to really, really fight to keep it that way. And there's still efforts to change that. It's really boggles the mind. So that could be a fluoride exposure, or it could be an actual calcium fluoride deficiency. If you think you might have a calcium fluoride deficiency, you can use cell salts, like the Schuessler cell salts for that. Now, we do have a lot of spinal stuff coming up. We have L3 that's really more in that area. So the lumbars are the lower part of the spine. So that's going to be in here. That makes more sense. And then the thoracics could be related. They're going to be a little bit higher up towards the rib cage. So I think that this makes sense, that the spinal nerves would be out, and it makes sense to send energy to them. I think this is more just a musculoskeletal issue that's going to need some stretching and some time to kind of work itself out. I don't know if we're going to have any other sort of aha moment about this particular issue because it's structurally related, and we don't have like a lot of panels that are like this particular thing. I mean, it's either like a ligamentous, issue, or it's a muscular issue. Those are the types of things that it would be. So I don't know if I'm going to have any sort of aha moment to really offer on that one. So, but let's just go to the pain panels. That could be helpful. We have some pain causes, location, resolution, and solutions. Let's look at some of those. So what are the things that are causing the pain? Welcome everyone who's here in the class. We're going to be getting another case in with Jillian. If you have a burning desire to be part of the class, then let me know. Has the sound changed? Okay, all good now. Okay. I live in Florida. Does the advice about winter apply when you don't experience a cold winter? This is such a good question. Thank you, Hattie. Well, you guys in Florida are in a much better position, but you should still consider preparing yourselves for a winter-like experience because it is a little bit cooler and there are some cool nights going on, but you're definitely getting less sunshine. I mean, I think the days are a little bit shorter, right? So for lots of different circumstances about we could really have a long conversation about how our skies have changed, but we're just really getting a paltry amount of exposure to the sun. So actually those of you who live in Florida have a kind of a good advantage in terms of that you're closer to the equator. You're getting a little bit more like density of the sunshine as opposed to us poor folks up here in the higher latitudes. We're really at a disadvantage, and we need to do anything we can to optimize our experience of light. So that means getting outside without sunglasses as often as possible. And it means being very careful about your exposure to blue light. So all of you who have iPads, and most of you who have your Android version, probably are able to do this as well. So I'm just going to call a totally different focus here. All of my lovely practitioners, that's sort of everybody who's on here. Ruben, welcome. Glad you're made it to class today. So grateful for that. And Marie, we'll get to some of your questions that you sent in. Thanks everybody who's here. Sherry and Sherry M. Sherry, did you get your Genius? Let me know. And Sherry H is here from Canada. So good. Lots of people here. Oh, Mary W is new to using the Genius, but a really revered Infinity user. And Barbara's here, has been sharing the Genius with a lot of people in Hawaii. I really, really appreciate that. So thanks you guys for being a part of class today. But on your iPads, you guys, let's just do a quick check-in because this is really, really important, and we're going to come back to what's going on here musculoskeletally. If you have an iPad, go to your settings and go to display and brightness. And what we want to do is set your night shift for as long as possible. So turn on at what time is it now? You basically turn it on at 10 o'clock and then turn it off at something that's like 9:59 a.m. or something. So it's only off for like a minute. And I think it's not showing through, but it just went into night shift on my, yeah, it's interesting. It's not showing through on there. Well, that's good, actually. So the filter is actually on my local display here. But the reason that I'm doing that all the time now, and I'll have a very yellowish hue on my iPad, and we can go even all the way to the most warm that it will be, which is right here. The reason I'm doing that, you guys, is because cataracts and macular degeneration and all these things, part of it is being affected by the blue light. And it is good to see some blue light during the day. That is a good thing. You want to be exposed to some blue light. But this light that we're being exposed to constantly on the iPad can be damaging to the eye. So my, lovely and very dedicated genius practitioners make sure that you're getting some protection from that blue light, especially after the sun goes down. So to come back to the case here, we do see some interesting things. We see lactic acid, which could suggest the overuse of the muscle, which was my suspicion. Histamines means some type of a reaction, some type of a gut reaction or some type of an allergic reaction. The globulin is also related to the immune response, but I'm not so concerned about it right now. Magnesium. The type of magnesium I like to use is Magna-Levers, which is a powder, or magnesium taurate. So whatever type of magnesium you're using, you may have to kick it up a notch. Hattie, you may have to kick it up a notch because it's really, really hard to keep up with the amount of magnesium that we're losing, especially if you don't take a green powder or eat a lot of green leafy vegetables. So you may want to take some magnesium. That will definitely help the pain. So magnesium taurate or a magnesium glycinate. It says an interference field, and then a one-sided injury is interesting. So an interference field means, or one-sided pain is interesting. So if you've ever had a cut, a fall, an injury, for example, like episiotomy, or you fell and you hurt your head, or you had a concussion, or you had some type of surgical procedure, these all unknowingly result in interference fields, which disrupt the meridian flow in the body until the interference field is cleared. It continues to affect the physical body. So we use things like clay packs. We use things like biofeedback. We use lasers to clear interference fields. So if you have this, you definitely want to clear it. Some type of structural abnormality means that there could be a slight scoliosis, or there could just be a short leg, long leg type of issue. So I think we included that. And the whole thing with biofeedback is to make the best of what you've got. So it's going to optimize what's already there. And substance P is usually higher when we're actually experiencing pain, so we want to harmonize that. And then there might be compression on the nerve. These are lower scores, but I think that they make sense. So then let's look at the location. And let's go down here. And this says a headache, ankle pain. I wonder if there's anything going on with your ankles. And then back pain, and then sort of mild TMJ. Whoops, let's include that one there. All right, and then pain resolution. What do we need to do to resolve the pain? So a lot of things in biofeedback are really gaining an understanding, and that's what we're trying to do, trying to gain a cognitive understanding of what's going on, and that will help us. Reduce joint pain, okay, and pain solutions. What kind of solutions will we have? Should we incorporate or use for the pain? So clary sage, a mu opioid agonist. This is an energy. This is like a neurotransmitter that will help to reduce the pain. Clary sage, one of our trusted essential oils. Nattokinase is good, a type of enzyme, any type of enzymes. Dale is here, one of our resident expert in enzymes. Any type of the serapeptase or proteolytic enzymes. Wintergreen is really great for any type of pain, balancing the nervous system. And you guys, always in our any age really, over 25, over 30, you want to be working on balance. So loss of balance in the later years is one of the most common reasons for injuries. And really, yoga is the only thing that really does it, yoga and Tai Chi and so forth, to keep your good balance. You need to keep balancing that left and right side of the brain. So anandamide is a good neurotransmitter for reducing pain. Serotonin. Boswellia is excellent. This is a really great herb for reducing inflammation, as is Kella. And we're getting all of these energetically. Should we take some of them? As a supplement, yes, we could. We could check those in the synergistics, but all of these are wonderful. So I think, confirmation here, there really is the sign that this is, basically an injury. It's a musculoskeletal injury. Let's get some of those flower essences in there, because flower essences, anytime you have an injury, you guys, it's just no accident. We say it's an accident, they fell. Okay, it's no accident. There was something energetically almost always that led up to the particular injury. There's always an emotional underpinning, even if it's a very mild emotional underpinning. And so the universe is asking for us to, the best thing we can do is really solve that little puzzle, sort of, get some elucidation or some insight about why that particular injury happened. And all of these essences that work on the emotional level help you to heal faster. So these are emotional energetic remedies that will help you, will facilitate the process of healing, that will really quicken the process of healing. So you want to include all of these flower essences because they potentiate what you're working on, and they make everything go a lot faster. Okay, so chicory is about finding good boundaries, respecting others' space. Those who are very mindful of the needs of others, they tend to be overfull of care for children, relatives, and friends, always finding something that should be put right. They're continually correcting what they consider wrong and enjoy doing so. They desire that those for whom they care should be near them. So there may be just, I always put this in the positive, like this is a process of finding good boundaries. These are all, our healers, and this is always like we really do really want to help to heal and uplift the world, and we want to find good boundaries in doing that. And holly is about overcoming any type of sort of feeling envious or jealousy. So some of that might be in there, to some degree. And we just have to determine. I always, try to go really gentle with people. Maybe this doesn't apply to you. If it doesn't apply, then take what you like and leave the rest. It doesn't have to be everything, doesn't have to be spot on. And then the third one is red chestnut, is about over concern for the welfare of loved ones. And you can see that that kind of ties in with the chicory. So there's a similar process going on there. And often they've ceased to worry about themselves, so not being as concerned about themselves as they are being concerned about maybe their clients or their family. So big, really big heart. So we have Kela, a structural abnormality, C7, so a neck issue. And you guys, a lot of things going on in the body are compensatory. So if the neck was out, and that's really like the key or the linchpin, then the back can come in to compensate. So that could be going on too. Lots of stuff coming up around hormones. And so it's when that estrogen goes too low, it's really significant, you guys. A lot of women who are peri, menopausal and postmenopausal don't realize the implication of losing estrogen. Really need to do a few more lectures on this, but this is what we talked about in the endocrine regeneration. So you want to actually always be running the hormones for yourself on a regular basis, and perhaps even getting some bioidentical hormones. It's really, you don't have to, but there's a lot of implications of losing the estrogen. Your bones, you could lose density from your bones. It could have cardiovascular implications. Your hormones are what keep you super healthy, unfortunately, and it really is. It's hard to really take that in. But I believe that we can use the energetics. We can entrain these hormones from biofeedback. So that's part of the whole thing. And we do them in a cyclical manner in accordance with the full moon. From new moon to full moon, we work on the estrogenic cycle. And from full moon to new moon, we work on the progesterone cycle. And we do it in a very specific way. And this comes out of a book by T.S. Wiley called Sex, Lies, and Menopause. And so you may want to check that book out. We talk about it in class and the real implications of losing that estrogen and aging faster and more things associated with that loss of estrogen. So that's something to consider as well. We've got nutritional, we've got holly, we've got globulin, which I didn't expect. Think of IgG and all the immunoglobulins in the body, so something about the immune system there. These may not be directly related to the injury. So we did 1 minute of harmonizing, and remember, when we really focus on these items that are really significant, like almost everything we had come up here was high, right? Including the magnesium deficiency, then it makes our balancing have more bang for the buck. So let's go back and let's peek at that aura and see what we see here. So we did 1 minute of harmonizing, and let's see what shifted, and we'll get some of your comments. Okay, beautiful. So there's so much going on. I've posted some things in the Facebook group that that everything that you're working in quantum biofeedback, you're working in the field. So you and your state are significant, and the client's state is very significant. So Hattie is an adept energy worker, and it's possible that when she sees this and experiences it and is getting it, that there's a lot of shifting that she's doing within herself, even at a more rapid pace than, say, the average person on the street. So this was wonderful. And again, just 1 minute. The genius was specifically designed, the developer, right? You guys, a lot of you know Ryan Williams. He had it in mind to really optimize the time spent. So very, very little time is required. You don't need to do an hour session. Hey, Fifi, I'm so glad you joined us today. So yeah, you don't really need the long session. Sometimes a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes can really do the trick. And our brains sometimes feel like we've cheated people, like, oh my gosh, we have to do a long session so they feel like they got more. But a lot can happen in a very short amount of time. Hattie, are you there?
Yes,
What were your
I
thoughts
am.
about, what were your thoughts about some of the things that were coming up?
Well, I sent some um, texts to you. I
Oh,
now
okay.
I first of all, I was excited like when it was showing like like structural problems, because that seems to be what I have going on. And then I went, oh, now I remember. I did a healing last week and with someone who adjusted my legs because one leg was longer than the other.
Oh my goodness.
And so it makes sense that my body is adapting to that correction.
Well,
And
that's amazing.
and I go, I mean, this is exciting because now I have my very own story to tell because I thought I mean it was a very I have some irritable bowel issues and that helped that quite a bit. And then there was this, then all of a sudden I was faced with this pain. Um,
Mm.
and so now I'll just keep working on myself with the genius. That's really exciting.
Very cool. I absolutely love it. Well, so much shifted. It's like it to me, it seems like the minute that you got the download on what you just told us and being so adept at moving your energy, it was like, boom, let's look at the previous picture and then that just 1 minute of harmonizing how we shifted and how you shifted. So we've got, this was number one, and this was after, if I can get this correct, this was after the 1 minute. So that is just extraordinary. All the crisscrossing is gone. That thing on your right side, appears to have been moved out. So that's just, thumbs up, good work on your part.
It is interesting that still the right side is where there's more, it's not colorful. It's not as colorful as the rest of it. So obviously there's more work to be done.
Yes, yes. And after we're done today, I'll go back and I'll run some frequencies for you and you run some for yourself. But isn't that amazing that you kind of put those pieces together?
Yeah, it, it was great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. So fun. So fun. So I'm so glad that she said that. We're going to work with Jillian moving forward. And so, Jillian, we'll just see if we can get you on microphone. This was a referral from Karen. So thank you for the introduction, Karen. We appreciate it. Hi,
Hello.
Jillian. How are you?
So good. How are you?
Good. Good. Tell me, you've been playing a little bit with the trial. So just tell me a little bit about your impressions so far.
I love it. I think it's so fun. And I think I did kind of test the limit with it a little bit, but I
That's okay. So you were
learned
doing a
how
lot of work.
powerful it was. And yeah, I have a lot of respect for the program, and I'm super excited to see how far, what else I can do with it.
Great. Okay, that is fantastic. That's excellent. And so did you make any particular discovery that you thought was interesting or have any experience of balancing yourself or other people that you thought was noteworthy?
Um, Well, like you said, it helps you to understand what's going on better. And I think that, each day that I've done a scan, the things that repeatedly keep coming up, they're kind of like leading me down this path of like, oh, it might be this and it could be that. And yeah, so far for me, it's just really been helping me to understand better and what the other, causes may be, the root causes. One thing that was pretty cool was when Karen did a demonstration on me. Um, the she did she did maybe like a half an hour, or I'm not sure how long it was, but when I went to bed that night, my skin was itchy all over my body. And that was like through the night. And when I woke up, it was so itchy that I couldn't handle it. And I just started dry brushing. And that felt so good. And then this really odd thing happened. My skin reeked like garlic. Are you there?
Interesting. Yeah, no, I'm totally here. Yeah. Yep, yep. I'm just getting your information entered here. So, yep.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's my really interesting story, because that the itchiness
Mhm,
hasn't happened in a really long time. So
mhm.
um I guess it was just kind of like a detox reaction.
Yeah, it sounds like you were trying to move something out through the skin. That's powerful.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go ahead and record your voice. So the way that we do this is you can say your first name if you want to on here since it's recorded. So my name is, say your first name, and then just keep repeating A-E-I-O-U. I'm going to start recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
My name is Jillian. A-E-I-O-U. I love you. A-E-I-O-U. My name is Jillian. A-E-I-O-U. 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 I love you. A-E-I-O-U.
And that's a great way to do your recording. And you can say anything. You can say, I love me, I love you, I love the world. I said, you can really say anything. We're just trying to get some intonation, some voice recording, but really anything you say and any way you say it will be perfect for the voice recording. So we're going to get your picture. Absolutely beautiful picture. So photogenic.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, so you can just what you said was really great. I love the I love part because it's such an important part, right? The thank you and I love you, two of the most powerful phrases that human beings can say.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you had 30 minutes with Karen. So what are some things that you are working on or trying to optimize, or is everything just 100% awesome and you're just wanting
No.
to? Okay,
Uh,
so tell us a little bit
I,
about
w- I
that.
would say I would say one of my primary concerns is my hormones. This is I've had kind of a lot of trauma around my reproductive area,
Mhm.
and my periods have been very irregular, and this has been the case for a long time because I was on birth control for like 6 years earlier on. And then coming off of it, my moons have just like never been regular. And I've been off of them for many years now. So yeah, it's like this little alarming thing that's in the back of my head.
About your exposure to estrogen? Or no, just in general,
Yes,
just reproductive
that
stuff.
just like, I mean, a lot of people look at me as like a figure of health, and I felt a lot of shame around not having a regular cycle.
Oh, wow. So the belief was like you sort of have to be perfect in order to help other people.
Mm, Yeah, there's that, and I think I just
Or you have
feel,
to be in good health to be a representative to other people.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people on here could identify with that, wanting to feel like they're in that perfect place to be a good representative. Um, but yeah, it sounds like you're also just letting a lot of that go, knowing that you can help other people, really being in just a state of grace of just desiring to help other people.
hmm and I have done a lot of work on this and overcome this belief and the shame.
Mm,
But at the end of the day, my cycles are still not,
hmm
steady. And I know
hmm
that it does have a lot to do with stress and traveling. It's
Sure.
very, very flighty. Like my moon, like I might feel it coming, and then if I go traveling, like it will wait until I'm back.
Well,
It's just,
stress is a huge, stress has a huge implication, on our cycle. Cortisol is interplaying with our thyroid and interplaying with the ovaries,
yeah.
interplaying with the brain all the time. And even like your melatonin is coming up here at the top. If your melatonin is off, that's going to way influence your cycle for sure. Where are you traveling?
I just travel. I've traveled for work, so but normally how I travel is like I'm gone for like a month at a time. So and it's all over the place, like Jamaica, Europe. I'm back to Ontario. I live in BC, so a little
For
bit of
sure,
everywhere.
well, that makes a lot of sense because as you try to get your circadian rhythm back to the particular time zone that you're in, it's going to make can have a huge implication. So I
hmm
think that for you, using the genius, to really help you to get that circadian rhythm back and to sort of get your get your head wrapped around where things are. Like I think even just seeing that melatonin is up there so high in red, and 777 is the highest score that you can have on
hmm
this scale, and you're at 769.
hmm Wow.
It doesn't mean you have to take melatonin, but it means you want to keep harmonizing it. And you can do
Yeah.
singular, harmonizing, like you could just take the melatonin and put it up in the quick zap.
hmm
And then you could do one other thing, like you could take the 528, the miracle frequency, and put that up there and just do that for 5 minutes.
Okay.
So just it could be super simple. It's like you're an energetic. Oh well, it says 852 is actually more resonating for you. But and I like the number of 3 anyway, so you could do 528. Looks like your DNA is like really doing well. Not a lot of need for DNA. That's good.
hmm
But you could just do that for 1 or 2 minutes,
hmm
as you have time to do. The reason I'm mentioning that is especially when you first get the genius, it can be overwhelming. Like you're like not sure where to put your energy or your time or your focus.
Yes.
So this can be really helpful for that. Um, but yeah, you want to think about your that endocrine regeneration program that we have has people do certain amount of balancing and harmonizing from new moon to full moon
Yeah.
and then full moon to new moon. And even if your cycling isn't aligned with that, you could do more estrogenic focus, get out your lunar calendar, and aligning yourself with new moon and full moon helps your system to come more into balance. Do you know what I mean?
hmm
So yeah, I mean, cycling, just if your biggest concern is about the cycling, like you're in like the upper echelon of, people's health concerns. Like you're so fortunate, like that's like your one thing that you're working on, even though not dealing with it could lead to other things. So
Mhm.
and maximizing your liver function, using the different organs and glands can
Mhm.
really help with that. But I would just keep harmonizing it. And that's just in the world that we live in today, holy smokes, it is so hard to maintain estrogenic and progesterone balance because there's so many things disrupting it in the environment.
Totally. And I know that I do have some past trauma that also could be playing a role. So
Oh,
that's, I
yeah.
think,
So keep working on the emotions and the flower essences and include them in every session that you're doing.
okay.
Because there are lots of different ways to approach emotional, past emotional trauma. Like we have a certain method we're doing in the cellular freedom technique. We use all types of techniques that you may have implemented, but exclusively with biofeedback, what we're doing is we're sort of just saying, you know what, let's just harmonize it. Like, let's just harmonize it. We know the emotions are up. We know the past traumas are up, and the flower essences are really good for that. Let's just acknowledge that there are issues there, and then let's put them into the harmonizing tray and sort of like let spirit take care of it. Let the
Mm-hmm.
energies take care of it. Let bioresonance take care of it. So that's really the nice part about biofeedback, is that you can sort of just let go of the reins a little bit and be like, well, I don't know, but let's just harmonize it. Let's just give it the energies that it needs.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So yeah, that's just a beautiful, wonderful pink aura. There's a lot of creativity, there's a lot of creation, there's a lot of connection to the higher energies, which is great.
Mm.
So that's good. And yeah, it's just one day at a time. It's one session at a time. And then bit by bit, you begin to have
I had a
more.
question about amino
Yeah.
acids that always comes up. It always comes up
hmm
on mine. What is that related to?
Well, your amino acids, you have essential amino acids in your system. So
So
it
would it
just
be
really
like from the food you're eating, like you're not getting enough?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, it depends on which amino acids are coming up for you, but it could be a deficiency for sure. It could be one that you're needing for some reason. For example, glutamine it feeds the enterocytes of the body. It feeds the gut cells.
Mm-hmm.
So that if you have leaky gut or any type of gut issue, that could be coming up.
I think I do.
Yeah, so what I gifted you, the electronic version of the mastery guide for the time that you're
Mm-hmm.
doing the trial. If you go to that mastery guide and you look up the amino acids, it has a meaning for each and every one of these. And so yes, it could definitely indicate that there are certain amino acids, like lysine is good for underlying viruses.
Got it.
Phenylalanine is good for any type of depression or brain imbalance, can be
Mm-hmm.
good for that. So take some time to learn these.
Mm-hmm.
Tryptophan is good also for sort of like the feel good experience. It helps to lighten the mood. So there
Okay.
are definitely different reasons. And so I would just open up amino acids and dive in there and start reading about the ones that are coming up for you. Have any of these ever come up for you before?
Glutamine, lysine, and I think that's it.
Yeah, those are pretty popular ones because a lot of people have leaky gut. And a
Right.
lot of people have the herpetic viruses like Epstein-Barr or cytomegalovirus or any of the herpes, the minor herpes. They're just so pervasive in our world, and they
Mm-hmm.
can affect you. It can affect your energy. They can affect your mood. So
Yeah.
working on those, and it's don't try to like put it together with, oh my gosh, like what all these supplements I need to go out and do, and am I amino acid deficient. Think of it in terms of energy, and then the lion's share is that you're in training the energy and working with the biofeedback, because it's a lot less expensive and it'll give you a lot more peace of mind. The
Mm-hmm.
downside of doing this is sometimes people can become overwhelmed by all the things that they're discovering, and so they
Yeah.
feel like a little bit a sense of hopelessness because they're like, oh my God, look at all these things coming up for me. But, it's just, there's so much knowledge that we don't have access to that now we're getting access to, and we don't know all the implications. You could have a lot of things going on in the body at any given time, and you could still wake up in the morning and go about your business and feel perfectly fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to mute this here and do a little bit more harmonizing for you. And thank you so much for using the Genius and checking it out and being a part of our community.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's a lot to discover when you're first learning the Genius, and that asparagine, I'd have to look that up. But you think about asparagine, asparagus, there's something in that, and I don't remember, maybe it might be liver stuff. I don't remember what all the asparagine, so look it up in the mastery guide. Here we go. Okay, so nutritional, I'm going to read it in a second. Nutritional is often not that you're not getting good nutrition, but you're not absorbing it. And that glutamine gives us a hint that there might be some leaky gut going on there. So asparagine is one of the principal and frequently the most abundant amino acids in the transport of nitrogen. So this could be an overabundance because it could be over or under. So if you eat a really high protein diet, this could be too high. You could be too high in amino acids. So asparagine is an amino acid required by the cells for the production of protein. Asparagine is an essential component of those proteins that are concerned with signaling, neuronal development, and transmission across the nerve endings. So I got kind of the hint or the impression of a little bit of a depression or low mood. I don't know if that's the case at all. Asparagine is essential to all living cells for the production of many proteins. Cells can either internally produce asparagine or they can absorb asparagine from outside the cell as it is obtained from a person's diet and made available to the bloodstream. Now, asparagine is an amino acid involved with the metabolic control of cell functions in the nerve and brain tissue. So a lot of nerve and neurotransmitter stuff coming up today. Ghrelin is a hormone regulating the appetite, and when our sleep is not good, then the ghrelin can be out of balance. Some hormonal stuff which she mentioned, FSH, so very, very, again, we want to go back to that cycling protocol, and you can even incorporate things from your diet. Getting more sunflower seeds is more phytoestrogenic, or even taking black cohosh, and that's from new moon to full moon. And from full moon to new moon, things like pumpkin seeds are more likely to support progesterone, and things like evening primrose oil or Vitex, chase tree berry. Again, yeah, the brain, something about mood, something about neurotransmitters, something about the sleep cycle. And then definitely, I want you to dive into those Bach flower essences because they can be so informative. You know, biofeedback, as it is with the Genius, because it's at a price point that people can actually access, it's not just to be a practitioner, it's a personal exploration. And it is an opportunity for people to explore their own psyche in the privacy of their own, thoughts and evaluation. And yes, it's good to have other people in the loop as well, but you get to see Chestnut Bud is wanting to learn from past mistakes. So wanting to get all the things of, past things that you've been through and say, oh, wait a second, I kind of see that pattern. I don't want to do that again. So Chestnut Bud has the ability to contact your core essence and help it blossom into fullness to the world. So it has a lot of potential behind it too. When you learn from those past mistakes, it's like, oh, I got it. I'm going to do something different this time. And then gorse is getting rising above hopelessness and despair. Gorse can be very great hopelessness. They've given up on the belief that that more can be done for them. Under persuasion or to please others, they may try different treatments. At the same time, assuring those around that there is so little. At the same time, assuring those around them that there is so little hope of relief. But gorse restores light. So gorse helps that person to rise above. Like, it isn't just about the situation with flower essences, it's about breaking through the situation. So don't read your flower essences like that they're frozen in time. They're about breaking through that particular issue and transcending beyond it. Okay, and Beach is about striving to have more tolerance of others, of circumstances, and of themselves. All things are working to their own perfection. So, that's why it's to look and to observe everything going on in the world. Everything in the world is in duality. Oh, darn. Okay, guys, sorry, there was a huge dropout for a second. I'll read your comments in a second. Okay, so sorry guys, the sound dropped out. I don't know where it dropped out at, but just to let you know that the flower essences are for transcending beyond, and so much is happening in just a few minutes of doing this balancing work. So it's for your self-investigation. Susan says, warning about glutamine. Some people get worse with it. Not sure about the details, but it's true. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it. Really do. And that is actually true for people who have a histamine excess. So that's why we run things energetically with biofeedback. As you notice, I wasn't actually telling her to take glutamine, but to run it energetically. When you run it energetically, your energy field takes what it likes and leaves the rest. Okay. So, Karen says, do the yoni steams. So she's recommending for Jillian to do the yoni steams. Dale says, for Hattie, explore orthobiotomy. Diane says, wow. And wow, you just mentioned the leg issue. That's so cool, says Hattie. Okay, so we was going back to what we were working on before. So yeah, sorry you guys, if anybody got cut off or anything, it was actually my system that cut you out there. So yeah, so think about the flower essences in terms of breaking free, in terms of going beyond, of transcending, and it can be really, really powerful. Like this is your own personal oracle. This is your own personal shapeshifter. And I remember what I was talking about before the sound got cut off, is that the world is dualistic. And if you look at the world, you can see so much that is wrong with the world. That's what some of these flower essences were about. And if you only focus on that, you will become entrained in that thought process and you will magnetize more of that to you. But for anything that's wrong in the world, it will equally, you could search for what is right in the world. And the world is always expanding and it's always improving. There's never a moment when we're not growing as a group consciousness for the better, because every time we learn something, we improve it. So it's important not to get too lost in the things that appear to be wrong, either on your biofeedback or just in the world. To continue, that's what biofeedback informs us, that there are so many ways that we can change for the positive, that there's always hope with biofeedback, that there's always a way that we can be improving. Okay, so we'll just do this last aura check and we'll sort of wrap it up from there. Okay, guys, I'm going to have some special programs coming up in the next week as we get closer to Thanksgiving. There's going to be some additional programs, like not just this program, but additional programs during the week. Now, I want to talk about this aura for a moment because it seems like we've gone like in the opposite of what we usually see with our auras. So I just want to talk about this for a second. And Jillian, thank you so much for volunteering today and being part of our class. I see some little doggies in there. Those are my little babies. So now this is so weird. Why did one come through without the aura picture. That is really weird. Okay, anyway, so we started here and then we're sort of ending up here, and you might think that's like an opposite picture. Usually we start here, but you guys, I want to just point out that nothing is written in stone with biofeedback. I think what actually happened is we started off here like in a wonderful place because she's been harmonizing herself, and we went into some of the deeper stuff, you know, some of the shadow psyche neurotransmitter stuff. And so I think if we continue, and I'm going to continue to work on Hattie and Jillian post class, but I think if we continue, a lot of this will clear out. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a major clearing going on in a very, very good and positive way. So we got to like a nice, good, juicy place to really move some energy. And we're sort of in that place right now. And as we continue to harmonize for 2, 3, 6, maybe 8 minutes, things will start, the clouds will start moving out. So I think that that's really helpful as well. Glutamine can feed cancer cells. You guys, so Kathy is very knowledgeable. Kathy, I really thank you and appreciate your input. But again, if you use it energetically with biofeedback, you don't have to worry about that. You guys, there are so many supplements that are made in China. We have no idea what's being put into those supplements. So a warning, try to get the majority of your supplements through food and through energy, through pure energy of biofeedback. We don't know. Again, I never told Jillian today to take glutamine. I said to run it energetically. Thank you for your contribution there. And it informs us. You should be careful about how many supplements that you take. I have found over time that after almost 2 decades in the health industry and having gone through a medical education, like a naturopathic 4-year clinical rotation class, when I first got out of class for at least out of school for at least the first decade, I took every supplement under the sun. And over time, I've become very much medicine is my food, with some things that I take for very short amounts of time in order to create a certain change. And I've gotten really away from synthetic supplements, but I will have herbs and I will have medicinal mushrooms and things like that. But the safest way to get something is energetically and to check it out through synergistics. Use your synergistics to see if it's actually a good thing for you. See if it resonates, if you have biocompatibility. I mean, I appreciate all the input from everyone. And glutamine, you can get a lot of glutamine through fermented foods, like fermented sauerkraut. You can get plenty of glutamine in your gut. So there are so many things, you know, a lot of people, it's like so funny. Everybody now is quoting and talking about Jerry Tennant, that we're electrical beings before we're chemical beings. But remember, we're electrical beings before we're chemical beings. So there's so much, a thought could change your whole energy field, right? A thought could change your whole energy field. You could just think the thought, optimal amounts of glutamine, and your whole system could change, right? You could run the frequency of optimal amounts of glutamine and your whole system could change. So that's what we're learning here, but good impact. Good input. Thank you, Kathy. Does the practitioner listening to the customer service frequencies get some effects? I think you mean, now that I totally understand what you're saying. The frequencies are focused on the person who the frequencies are meant for. If there's anything that you're getting from the tones, when we play the tones are overlay tones. So you may hear the wind chimes and you may hear those tones, and those could be beneficial for you, but you're not going to be harmed by listening to the frequencies for that person, which I think is your basic question there. Okay, let me just finish up by doing these last questions here. Also, when you isolate components of things, they are not balanced like they are in nature. Multiple compounds in a substance work together for balance. Thank you, Diana. That's very, so true. Okay, and Holly says, I so agree. I agree with using the energy frequency, the purest and least tampered with. Yeah, that's what we're really trying to attain within our being. So it's really good. Jillian is really responsive here, and you see that we're going now to a place of sort of clearing everything out. We went into the mucky muck, and now we're sort of neutral. And then usually things will move into more of the pinks and purples and the more of the emerald green again. Okay, so thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much. This will be posted to YouTube. It will be sent out in my weekly newsletter. If you didn't get one last week, we're late because there are some articles I want to get out about the microtubules and how they're related to energy. So we'll get that out as soon as possible. You can always go to YouTube to see the class. You can get in touch with me, Ariel at awakentotalhealth.com, or go to the website and just tap on the chat button at the lower right of the screen. I really appreciate everyone who comes to class each week. And this is a live, active community where we're always sharing information and really want to keep the energy moving in biofeedback. So thanks so much, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week. I should have a juicy, interesting newsletter coming out soon, so look for that sometime later today. And thanks, you guys, for being part of the community and doing everything that you do to uplift people around you. Again, if you have questions for me, you can even just go to the bottom right of my website and just click the chat button. You can chat with me here. And also, we have a new facts section. People who are interested in learning more about the genius can tap into here. There are a bunch of articles and information right here in our chat area. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye for now.